Tina, you seriously couldn't even be bothered with watching our grandmother's final message and reading her will? Like, seriously, what type of self-centered, narcissistic bastard doesn't want to say their final goodbyes to their grandmother? Not only has it been a decade since our family has been graced with your presence, but you haven't spoken to any of us. Don't you have any sense of family? Or are we not as important as your adventures around the globe? Is it my turn to speak, or are you going to continue to assault my phone with insults like some sort of middle school internet bully? Explain yourself whenever you feel like you can put your idiocy into words. How about that? My idiocy? Are you kidding me? How idiotic is it to place so much value in something as inconsistent as family? How many family members checked in on you while you were struggling through your degree, Brittany? Or check in on you at all those late-night bar trips I've been hearing about? I've been unreachable for 10 years, but any of your family could have reached out to you to stop you from wallowing in your own self-pity. Are you really trying to make me feel bad for caring about family? You are so freaking pathetic, Tina. Yeah, I'm the pathetic one. Get over yourself. Shouldn't you be sleeping so you can go to that 9-to-5 finance job you went through 8 years of schooling to get? Sorry we all couldn't drop out of high school and be content with living a life with no sense of direction. You're the queen of improv. I am not about to waste time arguing with a person that I don't even care to see. Wow, Tina. I mean, I always knew that was how you felt, but hearing you say it is something completely different. I'm supposed to be your sister. It has been a decade since I've seen you. The last time I saw your face was my high school graduation. And you're going to sit here and say you could care less if you saw me or not. Britt, I'm sorry, okay? But I cannot change the past. I wish I could, but all I can do is move forward with my life. I just couldn't bear any more family attachments. Dad's death was very rough on me. I spiraled out of control to the point where I couldn't even define what emotions I felt on a day-to-day basis. It was hard. I couldn't be angry at the cancer that took Dad away from us, so I decided I wouldn't feel that way anymore. I'm sorry. Look, I just contacted you because I want to discuss the content of Grandma's final message and will to us. Do you mind if the conversation waits until morning? It's kind of late, and that is the most emotional conversation I have had in years. It honestly took a lot of energy. Agreed. That was a lot. I'm not going to lie. Glad we don't have to argue about everything we speak about. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Brittany. Okay, we'll talk in the morning. Good night. Good night. All right, Brittany. What matter was so pressing that you had to interrupt the flow of my wonderful night? There is no way that you are about to go right back to being the jerk you were before our conversation last night. I thought we had finally found a way to coexist. Please do not mess up the progress that I thought we were making. All right. Can we not waste any more of either of our time and get to the point of this conversation? Anyway, I just wanted to ask about the extent of your knowledge as it pertains to our grandmother's will. Like, what led to her being as rich as she was, her assets, etc. Now, why would I know anything about our grandmother and her excessive amounts of money? If you don't recall, I'm the one you were just fussing out for going missing for a decade. Do you enjoy ruining the day-to-day experience of all the people who interact with you? At this point, it's like you make it your job to be the bane of my existence. And we haven't even been speaking for 12 hours at this point. I'll ask again, what is the extent of your knowledge as it pertains to our grandmother's wealth? I know you know something, so you can be serious for at least a second. I know that Grandma began the chain of restaurants, what's it called? Grandma Emma's Chicken Spot, right? I know that it became as popular as it is now because of that home-style honey garlic chicken. Anything else? Please tell me you know more. I know that she had the jackpot with our granddad. The biggest portion of the wealth comes from the 3% of that pharmaceutical company they own. I can never recall the name of that company. Okay, good. So you were told the same lies as everyone else in our family. Lies? What do you mean by lies? Why would our grandparents lie to us about the money they procured before we even got on this planet? I guess we weren't ready for the truth. The contents of our grandmother's final will and testament was about the truth of our so-called family business. The truth? I guess that means you're about to tell me what's really behind all that money Grandma and Granddad made? Well, first I have to figure out where to start. How about you just jump into the story? You have a habit of wasting a lot more time than what is necessary. Oh, you don't want me to waste any more time, huh? Okay. Well, our grandparents' wealth is based on that pharmaceutical company you know about, right? Well, the pharmaceutical company isn't real. That's why we never knew the name. The company was actually some guy named Mickey. Mickey? How in the hell is an entire company some guy named Mickey? Mickey is a big-time methamphetamine dealer based out of Portland, Oregon. Granddad met him in the military on one of those mini tours he did. Wait. Did you just say that the company that they told us they invested in was Mickey? And Mickey was a meth dealer? I cannot believe you came up with this crazy story just to get in contact with me. You must think I'm dumb if you think I would believe something as crazy as that. Like, what do you take me for? I was not born yesterday. Jesus, Tina, I know you don't understand, but please try to listen and not interrupt. This is going to take a lot longer if I have to combat your denial and try to explain the real-life sequel to Breaking Bad. Okay, I'm listening. As I said, Granddad met Mickey in the military. They had become really close friends after their time in Vietnam, and they turned into best friends by the time they got back to the States. When they got home from Nam, Granddad told Mickey about the farm he owned. He told Mickey about the farmland he owned, and how he could do virtually anything he wanted to with it. I guess this piqued Mickey's interest as he made Granddad an offer that he could not refuse. Granddad didn't know a thing about where the money came from or the operations that Mickey planned on running from his land. Well, how much money did he offer? It had to be something crazy. Granddad got paid government money as part of the forces. He gave our Granddad $300,000 cash and promised that he would receive 10% of the proceeds. He also gave our grandmother her own 7% just to entice her to stay to collect her own money. Needless to say, the money had them. They didn't know a thing until about 2 years later. They found out as our grandma attempted to tell Mickey that she had prepared dinner for the night and that he could come eat. In the video, she described the smell of the lab as the worst thing she had ever come into contact with. Mickey decided to come clean and let them know that the operation he was running was the manufacturing of meth. And they just went along with it? Well, not exactly. They actually were angry that Mickey didn't tell them the entire scope of the operations he paid them to run. Grandma went on to talk about a huge fight that went down between Mickey and Grandpa. It wasn't much of a fight, though. Apparently, Mickey would not fight back because he knew he was in the wrong. So, they didn't like what he was doing, and they put an end to it. Why does it matter if it is all over? Tina, for God's sakes, can you let me finish? I mean, it's not a Q&A. It's a, I talk, you listen. You would have already heard the story if you could be bothered to show up once in a while. Whatever, just get on with it. As I was saying, Mickey wouldn't fight back. Grandma stopped the onslaught and calmed Granddad down. She walked away with Mickey and he began to apologize for not being truthful. She didn't know what to think, so she told him to just go to his living area, meaning the barn, and she would talk to Pops. Of course, he was angry since their entire livelihood could have been ruined, but Grandma saw opportunity. Since their business relationship had started, our grandparents did not have to work a day. Needless to say, neither of them wanted to give up that lifestyle. So, they kicked him out and started the fast food chain? Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense. Wrong again. Grandma always dreamed of her restaurant, but that was not what she cared about anymore. She saw it as a way to clean all the money that they were making at such an absurd rate. The rest is history. Wow, are you serious? Yes, I'm afraid. That, my slightly dumb sister, is how our family fortune came to be. We are a drug kingpin, and none of us ever knew in the slightest. Now you're the one trying to ruin my life experience. Regardless, that was so many years ago, Brittany. I understand that Grandma spoke of it in the video, but why does that hardly matter now? If anything, we should burn all evidence of this and leave it in the past. This is why I called you slightly dumb. Yeah, it is smart to rid the evidence, but you have to be dumb if you're not looking at this opportunity like it's a gold mine. How small-minded can you be? Brittany, you are a 9-to-5 worker that works from a cubicle in an office. You cannot believe that you are just going to be able to go from that to a meth dealer. I'm tired of living such a mundane lifestyle. Every day I do the same thing. Wake up, convince myself to hit the gym, go to work. Work 8 hours, eat while I'm there, go home. I can't keep doing it. I need something different, something more spontaneous. And a life of crime is how you want to spice your life up? This isn't Grand Theft Auto, Brittany. You cannot go back to your normal, comfortable life after you try to get into something like this. Have you tried taking a dance class? How about parasailing? Hell, even skydiving. Just don't try to bite off more than you can chew. Tina, I am an adult. I know how to handle myself and not get into trouble. We're not kids anymore, you know. Well, you sure are acting like one. Why would you say you want to get involved with meth? Just have a more interesting life? Even if it made your life more interesting, you do know it's a secret you'd have to carry to the grave, right? Just like Grandma did. Oh, shut up. Acting like you care about your family now? You don't know anything about the lifestyle our grandma led, so don't go trying to give out advice. You wouldn't be half the woman our grandma was. Okay, that was uncalled for. Very uncalled for. Seems like you got everything figured out already, huh? You're darn right I do. I didn't need you all those years, and I don't need you now. I think you need me now more than ever, honestly. But I'll let you do what you want. You're right about one thing. We are not children anymore. I do not have to look after you by any means. Is that all? Can I go back to leading my normal, isolated life? Or are you going to keep bothering me without purpose? Yeah, go back to the pathetic lifestyle you live. Whatever that may be. Actually, there is one last thing. Our grandma's lawyer wanted to speak to you about your part of the inheritance. I don't know why you have a part, but that wasn't my choice, I guess. Okay. Thanks for that pointless comment. I'll make sure that I get in contact with her. Okay, well, that's all, Tina. Goodbye. I hope whatever you do goes well. Bye, Brittany. Don't get into any trouble. Hello, Angela. The brat told me you needed to speak to me. Why didn't you just text me? In case you don't remember, Tina, we haven't spoken before. You went around when your grandmother introduced me to the family. Hello, Tina. Well, you got me there. How have you been? It's been like a year since I heard from you. It's not 10 years, but a lot can happen in a year. I'm pretty good. Sorry, your grandmother and I kind of saw this time coming from a distance. We tried to prepare the best we could. Thank you for that, by the way. I know that took a lot out of you from a mental standpoint. I wish I had the ability to handle something like that. Trust me, Tina, we were proud of you just for doing your part as you have been. Your grandmother was so grateful that you took over the family business at such a young age. We know your father would have felt the same. Thank you. You have no idea what that means to me. On that note, why does Brittany think she is about to go from The Office to becoming the next Tony Montana? She thinks she is about to do what? That girl never ceases to amaze me. I'm sure you know like I know, but we cannot stop her from doing her heart's content. I thought we all agreed to keep the whole operation under wraps. What happened? Your grandmother began to change her mind the closer the time came. I tried to change her mind, but I didn't have it in me to argue. I get it. It was probably for the best that you didn't fight her over it. A blissful exit. You know? Yeah, but back to Brittany. She probably feels like since you weren't there from her point of view that you didn't mean anything to her. She only cares when it's announced to the world. That's why we are not the same. Well, you're not lying with that one. But let's get to the real point of this conversation. We have to talk about the $6 million inheritance she left behind. Brittany mentioned something about my part. Does she know about the inheritance too? Now why in the heck would I tell her about that? She knows what your grandmother left for everyone else. She assumed that was the entirety of the inheritance, and that no one knows about the operation. Not even me. Well, at least we kept one thing from her. She would have waged a war if she knew about that. Your grandmother left her the fast food chain and decided that this inheritance is solely to be shared by us for our part in the operations. We do have to negotiate the split, though. Is this the part where you tell me that you plan on taking me out? I don't think I can handle war with you after a conversation with Brittany. You watch too many movies, Tina. No, I am actually fine with taking 500,000. I don't need much, Tina. You are worth way more than that to the business, Angela. I'm not letting you leave this conversation unless you take 2 million. You really have no choice. You drive a hard bargain, but my mum would slap me if I ever turned down an offer like that. I'm glad it was that easy. I know you were just trying to play Mrs. Morale. You caught me. Thank you for that, by the way. I kind of feel bad for letting Brittany think that I just didn't care about our family. They truly mean the world to me. But she would have been the end of our business. She is just way too arrogant and does not care to listen more than she speaks. So, I guess this is what had to happen. It was the right decision. I have to go now. It's time to pick up my kids. Okay. It was nice to hear from you, Angela. Same to you. I will talk to you soon. See you later. Please tell me you have access to a TV. Watch the news right now. Please skip the dramatics. You know for a fact that I do not own a TV. Let's get to the point. Former financial manager arrested for trafficking? What in the hell did she do? It couldn't have had anything to do with the business. She hasn't been with me, talking to me, or anything else. Brittany the Brilliant decided to find her own way into the family company. She found her own contacts and then began to try and set up a family partnership. The contact told her to meet him the week after and then showed her his badge and took her in. Since she runs the chicken spot, they decided to check out all locations and decided to shut down 3 of the biggest restaurants. It isn't devastating to the company, and the teenage crowd thought it was pretty cool. I'm just glad we stopped cleaning money there, or else she would have really been Armageddon to our entire family. That's cool and all, but you know this means we can't do anything for her, right? I can be her lawyer, but the bail price is so high it would look strange for you to bail her out. So, I can't get her, or else the cops are going to look into the background of my money. Cool. Don't get me wrong, I want to empathize with her, but we all knew that Brittany would be the end of herself. It's not on our shoulders. She chose her own path. Why do we only contact each other in these awful scenarios? We've got to get better at talking about something positive. You're right. When she found out the news, she was doomed. I told your grandma that would happen. Trust me, my grandma knew that too. But I guess the decisions were all up to Brittany. Well, I'll make sure I do better with contacting you with better news. I have to go. Talk to you later, Tina. Okay, goodbye.